Hello, good morning. It's Kirsten Liebelt. Good to see you. It's Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. How you doing? How is everybody doing? Are you stressed or are you at peace? Which are you? If you're stressed, let's deal with it because we're going to talk about stress today. Hallelujah. And if you're at peace, good for you. Like, way to go. Seriously. You're accomplishing really good things around holidays, aren't you? It's good to see you guys. Today, I did want to talk about the cortisol insulin resistance connection. That's what we're doing on the show today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. And every day, Monday through Friday, we come here at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We talk about insulin resistance. Mainly because it's been a part of my entire life, with my father passing at 63 from type 2 diabetes. So he was diagnosed when I was a baby, and then that was literally my whole life. My whole life was injections of insulin, not for me, for him, and all sorts of medical procedures, etc. I mean, I remember, side note, I remember being like, oh, Lord, please just keep him alive until I get married. I want him to walk me down the aisle. And I did get that. He walked me down the aisle. And as an Italian, he danced the tarantella at my wedding. So we did good. But anyway, he was still too young when he died. But my whole life of trying to reverse this and turn this around and whatever, now I know that I can teach what I did to compress time for other people. And how amazing is that? Like, that's my goal. So good morning, Terry. How are you? Good to see you. Good morning. You're at peace. Oh, I like that answer. Terry is at peace the day before Thanksgiving. Way to go. Terry, tell me one thing that you made or are going to make for Thanksgiving that is in alignment with how you are now eating, because she switched things up and has done a very good job, has a very good testimony. Good morning, you guys. Jump on in from the balcony if you're in the balcony. And the reason why I put this up here for you guys on TikTok is just because then you know who like I am, and because you guys are oftentimes more likely to be strangers. But then there's a way to get to my Facebook group. So the Facebook group is called Cranberry Sauce, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And we do a 5-day challenge in there that is free every single month. And the next one starts on Monday, December 2nd. Monday, December 2nd. 3 p.m. The time changed. Did you guys see that? 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. 3 p.m., not 2 p.m. So what are you doing to your cranberry sauce, Terry? I would love to know. Are you just making it like different with allulose or something like that? That's really cool. So I wanted to talk about stress today just a little bit, because last night I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about how, remember we did the Jenny Potter interview in the group a couple nights ago. And she was talking about how things should just have an ease on them. Like, we should not expect things to be hard and arduous. We should expect there to be an ease on things. I hope my microphone is fine. Looks like it's being weird. And during holidays, oftentimes that is not the case. Things are very stressful or weird. Look at that, be weird. And it can just feel like maybe there's a little bit of mud that we're walking through, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to have that feeling of things are hard, because then we're more likely to self-sabotage. Does anybody know what I mean when I say that? Because I do. I know exactly what that's like. So I wanted to talk about the cortisol insulin resistance connection, because the truth is that cortisol actually plays a huge role in, of all things, your blood sugar. So if you did not know that, if nobody has told you that, now you know. All right, now you know. You followed the recipe on a bag of cranberries and sweetened with Swerve. Awesome. And you 1 squirt of liquid stevia. So you up it. You make it sweeter. I like that. I do that a lot, where I'm using a liquid. In fact, here, I bought this one off of Amazon. Sweet leaf. This is a monk fruit. I'll hold this up for people to see the lighting. The lighting and weirdness on Facebook. That does not show well there. It's a sweet leaf and it's a monk fruit and it's a liquid. You guys can see it easier. There's the whatever, the blur. This is, I have to be careful on TikTok. They think I'm trying to sell this to you and I'm not. You can get this off of Amazon, and it's a monk fruit liquid sweetener. And what I do with this, Kristen, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll boost the sweetness of a recipe. And so that's what she's saying. Jacqueline, good to see you. Very, very good to see you. If you're available, Jacqueline, the challenge starts on Monday, December 2nd. And the time has changed. It's 3:00 instead of 2:00 because thank you, Kristen, you're amazing. I have a coaching thing. So I'm going to change the time to 3:00. But cortisol is another hormone. Cortisol is a hormone. Insulin is a hormone. And how frustrated are we that this is where we're getting like all of our belly fat? Is it belly fat that's driving you bonkers? I mean, honestly, it's like we pack on the pounds and we wonder why, but we do live in this really stressful kind of universe sometimes. And like I've said it before, it could be your job. It could be you're taking care of a dementia parent. You could be, like I've worked with ICU nurses that work overnight for years. You can imagine what that does to your cortisol and your adrenals. But listen to this so that you can have better understanding. And by the way, if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I would love to know that. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, plays a critical role in the body's response to stress. However, when cortisol levels are chronically elevated, so this is why we got to deal with our stress, girls, it can contribute significantly to insulin resistance because cortisol's primary job, let me know if you knew this or if this is new to you. New or you knew KNEW or it's new NEW to you. That's hilarious. Cortisol's primary job during stress is to increase your blood sugar. What? To increase your glucose levels to provide energy for the fight or flight response. Because your body prefers, I'm going to sneeze on the, excuse me. I could feel that I could suppress it. I couldn't. And then my cat sneezed. That's really funny. It must just be, I don't even know. I put on perfume this morning, so it might be my perfume. Anyway, who knew though that living in that fight or flight, we think that's normal. We think we're supposed to hustle. We think we're supposed to like go and do and be and all of these different things, or we feel tons of stress sometimes coming from outside sources like our family during the holidays, or we have to make those, cookies, or we have to make that recipe, or we have to perform for whatever it is. It could be Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day or making gifts or shopping or wrapping, or just there's so many pieces, and we condense it all into this little 4-week period of time, and we just kind of are like crazy. That's just one example, but I feel like we've started to live like that for the other 11 months out of the year, where sometimes we are in these seasons and we don't even know how to get out of them. Well, if your body is needing glucose for fuel, like you're going to put gas into your gas tank and your body wants glucose, and you're under stress and your cortisol hormone says, oh, we need more glucose. We need more glucose. And so now it increases your blood sugar in your body. Like seriously, let's see, cortisol up, insulin up. That means belly fat increasing. I have fireworks on Instagram. Woohoo! Thank you, Kristen. She says, bless me. I receive all blessings. I receive them all. So then all of a sudden our belly fat is up, and we're just like, seriously, like what the heck? All right. So let's keep going. New to you, Jacqueline. Good. Happy Thanksgiving, Jan. Good to see you. Yeah. Most people don't know these simple things, and we're not being taught them, right? We don't go to our provider and then they go, oh, by the way, it sounds to me like you have a very stressful life and your cortisol is actually raising your blood sugar. Let's deal with your stress. Nobody's telling you that. But we can tell ourselves that. So it's stimulating gluconeogenesis, which is the creation of glucose in your liver. Oh, I should have worn my Love Your Liver shirt, Jan. I should have worn that today because, again, here we are talking about the liver. I mean, honestly, you guys, we talk about the liver all the time. And again, just for referral or for reference for anybody who's already taking the trio, liver, liver, liver. Anybody? Liver. And if you're doing the gut primer, liver health. So let's move on. Reducing insulin sensitivity to keep glucose available in the bloodstream. So it's literally reducing your insulin sensitivity. I hope you're understanding. I hope you're hearing that, even if you don't understand like the whole process of that. But if you're reducing your insulin sensitivity in order to keep the glucose in your bloodstream, because your body needs glucose because you're in fight or flight. Do you understand this cycle? See how we talk about this all the time? It's all connected. It's all connected. And sometimes we have seasons that are beyond ourselves. Like I took care of a dementia mom for 5 years. I had a brother that was in and out of facilities for 2 of those. So we had both of them at the same time. And there was a lot of, my brother was a drug user and his life was very tumultuous. He had a very, very strong vortex. He had a lot of chaos in his life because he had a lot of chaos in his mind. And then the relationship between him and my mother was very codependent and all sorts of things. So there were all of these pieces going on over this 5-year period of time. And you do the best that you can do in the season that you're in, the season that has been given to you, because, you know, we had to steward my mom well. We had to take care of her. We were going to make sure that my brother lived with dignity, and we were his advocate in and around many different scenarios in Minnesota facilities. So we couldn't avoid the scenario, but I could pay attention to the level of stress. And I always knew when my stress was high because I was eating nuts. I was overeating nuts. Ask me how I know that nuts will stall your weight loss. Because my sister would buy the really good ones at Costco, and I would go over to her house to take care of my mom, and I'd be like, because who doesn't like really good mixed nuts, like quality premium mixed nuts, not like trash on the Walmart shelf. Donna says, and once it is damaged, it thinks it needs cortisol before you wake up. Like it anticipates the stressful day to come. Donna, that is such an amazing point, because you know what? That is actually the conversation I should have been having with my friend last night. That when you wake up like that, and you're waking, it's rising before you even wake up, or it's triggering you in the middle of the night because you have stress going, you have to deal with the stress. Of course, I'll give you ways to do that. But that's, so when stress is short-lived, the system works as intended, right? Okay. Our bodies were made like Porsches, right? We're actually a Porsche. We just didn't know it. We think we're like, oh God, what was the name of the car a long time ago, you guys? It was a hatchback. They don't make it anymore. Was it a Pacer? And it had a big like fishbowl window in the back. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I thought it was the ugliest car ever. I don't remember the brand of it, but we think we're like this Pacer car, whatever. I don't know the name of it. Somebody might come up with it, but we're actually Porsches. We are a Porsche with a Porsche engine. God made us to function at such a high level. Like we do not treat ourselves properly. It was a Pacer, Terry. Okay. Oh, I hated that car. I thought it was so dang ugly. So anyway, we're not Pacers, people. We're not Pacers. We are Porsches. Porsches. Yes, Porsches. So when stress is short-lived, the system works as intended. So you're doing fine, okay? When stress is like, bah, you have a moment of stress and then it goes away. But chronic stress, it's the chronic stress, you guys. It leads to prolonged high cortisol levels. And you have to do something about that, creating a constant demand for glucose. Cortisol, sugar, cortisol. It's demanding more and more out of your blood. So therefore, it's hindering you from going from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. It's shutting down that ability because it wants that sugar to remain high in the blood. Does that make sense? I hope that's making sense. But it exhausts your system over time. So your system is going, and it's just like losing air, so to speak, right? Joey, good to see you. Is there a test to get to really know the cortisol throughout day? Regular doctors don't seem to know that. I actually don't know if there's one that could tell you like during your day how you're doing. but I would assume that there would be tests for like stress tests in general. But that's a really good question. Okay, good, Donna. She says it totally makes sense. That makes me happy because again, we don't know this stuff, right? So chronic stress is putting a demand on your body for more glucose. Your glucose lives inside of your bloodstream. Okay. Your insulin is being released to take the glucose like a delivery truck. It's a delivery truck and it's being released by your pancreas. So insulin, vroom, 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 gets its engine going, starts up the delivery truck, and it goes to get the glucose in your blood to shuttle it into your cell. Okay. But your cell over time says, okay, whoa, 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 back off. You're giving me way too much glucose. And it's because you're eating things that are constantly spiking your sugars. You're not eating eggs and steak, which is giving you very little rise. Maybe you're eating bagels and sub sandwiches and ramen noodles or pasta and drinking a Coke and whatever you're doing. It's a constant source of glucose into your blood. And after a while, your insulin is like, oh, I must need to make more. Or your pancreas says, I must not be making enough. I need to make more. I need to make more. I need to make more to get that glucose into your cell. Well, then exacerbate that with cortisol. If you are stressed out, now what's happening is your body is saying, I actually need even more glucose. And your cell is going, no way, baby. And so your body is making sure that what little sensitivity you have in your cell, it's going to shut it down even further. Man, that's a tough cycle. Man, that's a stinky cycle for you guys. Like, not you guys, all of us. It's a stinky cycle to live in. That's why when we're in stressful situations, you lose a loved one, you lose a spouse, you go through a stressful divorce, all of these types of scenarios. This is why weight gain can be kind of a piece of that puzzle. Anyone have hair loss, lots of shedding, how you get that better? Joey, that is such a great question. I actually have a girlfriend who she talks about hair loss and shedding quite frequently because she's a hairstylist. Good morning, Carol. Good to see you. And so she actually does have tips on that. I will find out and see. Maybe she'll even jump on here this morning. You think some tests have where they have tests certain times of the day. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Not sure which brand of test that is. Thank you for weighing in on that, Lisa. Because I did not know that. I did not know that. If something comes to me though, Joey, I will answer that. You can get a neurotransmitter, urine, or blood test. Thank you. Thank you for that, Kelly. I appreciate that. So you can get a neurotransmitter, urine, or a blood test, Joey, for cortisol. That's very good. Very good. Okay, so the link between cortisol and insulin resistance. So here's the link, and then really we need to answer the question, which comes first, the cortisol, the high cortisol, or the high insulin? So that's what we're going to tackle here. So the link between cortisol and insulin resistance, you end up with impaired insulin function. Chronic cortisol exposure decreases insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells don't respond to insulin properly. This forces the pancreas to produce more insulin, leading to hyperinsulinemia, high insulin levels. Number 2, visceral fat accumulation. We talk about that a lot lately. High cortisol contributes to fat storage, particularly around the abdomen. Visceral fat is metabolically active and increases inflammation, further worsening insulin resistance. You guys, that's where the blood orange pixie sticks come in to play. It targets, it's a clinical dose of an extract that targets visceral fat in your waist and in your hips. Okay, we can talk about that later. Number 3, increased appetite and cravings. So you're wondering why you're just like, you're ravenous or you're chasing carbs and sugar. Cortisol can drive your cravings. It's increasing your cravings for high sugar and high fat foods, leading to overeating, blood sugar spikes, and eventually insulin resistance. So here are some symptoms of having an insulin, a cortisol-induced insulin resistance. So your insulin resistance came from cortisol. Like over time, you had high cortisol all the time. Weight gain, especially around the abdomen. Fatigue after you've rested, like you wake up and you're tired. Blood sugar fluctuations or Hypoglycemia episodes, dipping too low. Oh, Kelly says she works in the mental health industry and we suggest clients get them sometimes. Thank you for that. That is fantastic. I so appreciate that. Lisa says, look it up. It's called diurnal test. Hold on. I'll spell it. You test more than once a day. DIURNAL. Diurnal tests. Okay. DIURNAL. And you can test more than once a day. And that has to do with testing your cortisol throughout the day. That is such good information, you guys. It's a saliva, no blood, not accurate, nor urine. Okay, so it's a saliva test, no blood, not accurate, nor urine. Okay. Could insulin resistance come from just bad diet? Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's most of what I talk about. But there are many factors. Like when we are constantly flooding our body with seed oils that are really high in omega-6s, that's very inflammatory, and that can actually drive insulin resistance. High cortisol can drive insulin resistance. So it's that's why this is a conversation that's very multifaceted, and we can just talk about it 6 ways from Sunday every day, because it's all interconnected. And so therefore going to doctors that have silo conversations with you about your symptoms is so dang frustrating, because there are different factors that you could be. It's kind of like a boat that has many holes. So we can take these many holes and we're kind of whack-a-mole, and we're like plugging the holes and trying to figure it out. And it's really just a very holistic conversation for your own health. And so you have to take your own universe and create a holistic, customized thought process. And that's probably where I shine the most, is helping people with customizing supplementation so that you're not buying things that you don't need, but that you are getting things that you do need in order to kind of shore these things up. Yeah, I don't know, Joey. She says, where do you get that test? What doc? I do not know that. Hold on. Carrie Marie, love you, lady, and all that you do. It's so important. Not enough people know. Thank you, Carrie. You're amazing. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are so encouraging. You're so nice. People are so nice. Okay, so weight gain around your middle, fatigue after you've been resting, blood sugar fluctuations or hypoglycemic episodes, and increased hunger and sugar cravings. How do you manage your cortisol and improve insulin sensitivity? How do you do that? Number 1, you reduce stress. And I know that's so easy to say, isn't it? Mindfulness practices, regular exercise, etc. But you have to at some point prioritize parts of your life where you can decompress. Whether you get up and you do reading and scripture, Psalms, Proverbs, etc. Whether you have time during the day where you can just kind of like shut your brain down for just a few minutes to kind of take a deep breath, making sure that, like, for the holidays, if we can plug this into the holiday conversation, it's maybe a little more easy to have the conversation because it's super obvious and in your face. Any toxic relationships that you're around during the holiday season, really being mindful before you enter in so that you can navigate those better, so that you can maybe have a plan in place just for yourself. You don't even have to tell anybody about it. But, maybe when that conversation goes south or whatever, you just excuse yourself and you go to the bathroom, or maybe you choose to spend less time at that place, or whatever it is. Like, just be mindful of it. Don't just allow the holiday season to come and hit you in the face over and over again, but instead, very much so, take an offensive thought process, because it's for 30 days now, right? We're about 30 days out from, the ending of the season. And so for 30 days, you can have a little bit of mindfulness towards that, right? Make sure you prioritize your sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. And I do know that is, for a lot of people, you're like, that's ridiculous. How would you ever expect me to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night? Well, there are things that you can do, so I have 3 different things in my line that I talk to people about. One is melatonin gummies. They work extremely well, so well that I don't take them. One is it might still be on back order. I can look it up here. It's an herbal blend that I actually really, really do love. I don't know if I can look this up or not. And it's great. It doesn't make you feel like drunk the next day or in the middle of the night. And that's wonderful. And let me see here if I can find it. And then the third one is ashwagandha. And that is the one that I rely on now, or I love ashwagandha. That particular blend is so fantastic. And I don't know if you know that ashwagandha is it's an adaptogenic herb that helps your body adapt to stress. And so it's coming in and it's supporting your adrenals, and your adrenals regulate your hormones and your neurotransmitters, et cetera. And so by taking that, it doesn't make you sleepy, but it works on your systems that help you to sleep better and get more quality sleep. So I take one in the morning and then I take one at night before I go to bed. And it makes such a difference because ashwagandha helps with stress, sleep, and mood. So if you tried an ashwagandha and it hasn't worked for you, please connect with me because I would love for you to then test what I'm taking. Because there's a difference when you are taking something that's third-party tested, it's completely organic, it's potent, it's like they grow their botanicals and then within 36 hours, they are turned into a supplement. I mean, like you have to compare apples to apples. You cannot compare apples to like a cashew. You just can't do that. There's a complete difference. Anyway. So prioritizing your sleep, supporting your adrenal health, adaptogenic herbs. Here we go. Like ashwagandha, rhodiola, or holy basil. I have all three. May help regulate your cortisol levels. And then nutrient support. So magnesium, vitamin D. I have a magnesium launching very soon. I don't have a date on it yet, but I'm super excited. It will be a glycinate. I'll tell you all about it. Magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3. I've got I don't have the magnesium, but I've got the vitamin D and the omega-3. And again, just make sure that you're getting things that are quality. You don't have to have a synthetic vitamin D when, like, I have a vitamin D that's sourced from mushrooms and it's like 30 cents a day. Like, this is ridiculous. We just don't know what we don't know, right? And then when you get omega-3s, make sure that they're wild caught. You want your supplements wild caught, just like the fish you put in your kitchen. And that's what I have. And then blood sugar stabilization. A low carb or a balanced keto diet with protein and healthy fats can minimize your blood sugar spikes and ease the pancreas's workload. That is a key to all of this. You want to ease up on the load of your pancreas. I know Carol says, yay for the magnesium coming. I am so psyched about that. I'm so excited. Very, very, I've been waiting. I heard about it coming about 6 months ago, and now it is finally coming. So there's only one supplement that I take that's not in my own line, and it's a magnesium. So I, just like everybody else, I want everything under one roof for myself. I like things that are made in the USA. I want things that are third-party tested. I want things, and I don't know these things of what I'm taking completely. I did my research and I did the best that I could. I want things that are, because they're not regulated by the FDA, because the FDA doesn't regulate supplements, it's the Food and Drug Administration. I want to make sure that there's high integrity in the company. Because if there's not high integrity in the company, they'll put out anything. And I'm not interested in that. Okay. And I don't want dupes. I don't want things that are trying to mimic. I'm not interested in that either. And that, even Shailene Johnson was talking about this the other day on a reel on TikTok. And she said, stop buying your supplements on Amazon. Like, you have no idea, because it's not regulated. It's not a regulated industry. They could be expired. They could be like have fillers in them. They could have all sorts of things. She said, you have to buy directly from the manufacturer. And of course, that's exactly what I do. But the one that I don't is the magnesium. And so that's fine. Like, I'm not freaking out or anything like that. I'm not an ingredient, Nazi when it comes to certain things. I try not to be like religious about everything has to be perfect all the time. I would never have gotten to where I am if I had that thought process, not in business, not in my own health, not in my weight loss. I've lost 3 sizes now in my 50s, not in anything. So I've had to take it one step at a time. But I do get excited about just the potential of having it all coming from one place. So I just love that about your product. So if you can stick To one good company, that's a win for me. Carol, that is such a really good. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I'm going to put that up because that is such a good point. And you know what? People don't always think about that, but this is what happens. We will get an Amazon, we're scrolling Instagram and we get an ad. We're like, oh, that looks interesting. And then we start grabbing that. And then we have a friend down the street that says, hey, I just found this product, blah, 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 and I'm getting it off of Amazon. And then now we're ordering that over there. And then maybe we get like a Facebook ad or we see something on the TikTok shop and we're getting something over there. And now we have this compilation of things going. And we actually don't even know the integrity of all of the different companies or the different connections that are coming to us. And I feel like that was me. And I was very like, because I wasn't a supplementer, I didn't have respect or any caring inside of me. Like it didn't dawn on me. If I was willing to take Metabolife, I certainly wasn't thinking about the integrity of a company. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I just wasn't like, it wasn't important to me, but now it is really important to me. So I get it. So anyway, that's awesome, Carol. Thank you. You're amazing. What about Walmart? Well, it's the same thing. So this is what I'll say about this. It's a good question. I'm not going to say that everything is bad because I don't know. I haven't studied them, right? But I do know that there was this wonderful reel that was out and I saved it and I was going to teach on it the very next day. This was about 3 months ago. And by the time I went to go teach on it, it was deleted off of TikTok. Like he got it removed. And the reason why is because the topic was, he was standing in front of, like he was at a drugstore, like a Walgreens, and he was standing in front of all of the shelves of supplementation. And he said, I'm going to tell you exactly which PHARMA company owns each one of these. And he dissected all of them. And he said, why do they all have nature in their name? And they're being made by PHARMA companies. So don't be confused. That is how this goes. So for instance, if you go to the doctor and you get prescribed a vitamin D and they're like, we're going to write you out a prescription for that vitamin D. And you're like, why? And they're like, oh, it's just better if we do it that way. And they write you out a prescription. You go to the pharmacy. Number one, it's probably going to be synthetic. And number two, it's being created by a PHARMA company because they're going to cash in on both sides of the deal, as opposed to somebody who that's what they do. That's all they do. Like when I'm working with my company, they grow their own organic farms. They harvest off of their own organic farms. If you're going to be a partner farm because you are growing something in your area of the world that we don't have a farm in, then you are going to have to go through like serious certification to even be a part of our world. Like you don't just get to jump in and be a part, right? And then they do all of this third-party testing and they have over 500 scientists and they have all of these things. And I know that most people would think then that's going to be more expensive. It's not. It's not. It's really quite amazing how when you do not pay for the overhead of a clinic to sell your things in, you don't have to have the price that much higher. So when you go to a clinic, you know what I'm talking about. You guys, most of you are probably the type of people that would go to either a chiropractor like me or a naturopath. Like I worked with one for a while. And she taught me so much good stuff. But those are usually higher priced supplementations, aren't they? They just are. And a lot of times it's because that company maybe goes into nutraceuticals. And so that is another layer that sometimes people need a different layer. And I get that. But the truth is that oftentimes like my company's parent company also owned the nutraceutical company. So they were doing good things on both sides, right? They were doing good things for people who needed those different layers of like blends that are not a part of usually just a regular line. So I don't know if that is confusing to anybody, but there are just different levels of what people need for blends and for fixing different things that they have going on. And, when you know things are coming off of organic farms and stuff, you're just like so grateful. Lots of bad fillers. Yes. Do I do veggies like greens for liver and bowel? Yeah. So a big piece of the puzzle for liver, in my opinion, is um, I actually had my girlfriend, she made me a t-shirt that says love your liver. I should be wearing it today because your liver is like paramount to not only just your health, which is great because it's your detox organ, but it's also your fat metabolizing organ. Thank you for following, Maria. Is it Maria or Marla? Marla. I think it's Marla. Thank you so much for following me. That is so very nice. Does this help with neuropathy? Okay, I will answer that here in just a second. So your liver is your fat metabolizing organ. And so if more women knew that, they would love their liver, but it does so many things. It's ridiculous. So the two things that I do for my liver, and then this will go right into the neuropathy question. The two things would be inside of the trio. So the trio are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And for those of you that are already taking the trio, you're probably taking it because you know that you can't lose weight if you don't bring down your insulin and your sugars. Okay. You may not know, you may not know that you probably do because it's on the bottle, but this one is for your liver. So you're automatically helping your liver. Okay. And then this has to do with your metabolism. The point behind this thought process, and this is what I started over 10 years ago. So for you're on TikTok, this is me when I started, okay, over 10 years ago. And I did not know because I was not privy to understanding like that progression of my dad having type 2 and then like medical treatment, dialysis, death at 63. I didn't understand the inner workings of the body. I had to reverse engineer why this worked in my body. Okay. So if your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight and you're frustrated. And if your insulin is high, and most of you don't even know if it is because they're not pulling a fasting insulin test, you can't burn fat. And that's really frustrating. So bringing down your insulin and your sugars is extremely important. One of these is for the liver. That's answering the liver question. The second conversation that I have with everybody now is a gut reset protocol. This is a gut primer. It's not a greens product. And the reason why I say that is because you open it up and it looks like a greens product. So you're like, oh, I just add greens. Thank you, Kristen. You're so nice. She's sending me treats on TikTok. But this is instead something that literally shifts the way that your body is functioning from the inside out. So basically what you have is you have prebiotics, postbiotics, digestive enzymes, alkaline spices, because you need an alkaline environment, fermented greens. So you're talking about greens, fermented greens, very easy to break down. And then extracts from fruits and vegetables, and again, off of organic farms, so that you can have the fiber that you need. It's not trash fiber. That's just what I call it, trash fiber. Somebody's selling fiber, and I'm not saying this is true. It's just in my brain. It's a mental thing. I don't want sawdust in a container and tell me to eat my fiber. That's not my idea of proper whatever. But doing a gut primer and a probiotic, that is my gut reset protocol. And I'm telling you what, anybody who's wanting to get their liver functioning at a higher level, this is going to help with liver function, oral function, metabolism, leaching nutrients. You need your nutrient absorption. And the biggest benefits, and I will get another device at some point, I promise, because then I could show you a picture of like my daughter who she took this at night a couple of weeks ago, and she looked like she was pregnant the night before. She's had 3 babies because she was super bloated. She ate super poorly that day. Like she said, I was running around. I ate badly. I'm nursing and I just had to eat all the time. And I just went to town and she was so bloated. So she's like, well, I saw this is literally meant to take in the morning. You take this at the beginning of your day because you're priming your gut. She goes, I saw somebody else take it at night. I'm going to do that. And she took it. And then she woke up the next day and she took another picture because she was like, holy cow, because her bloating went way, way down. So bloating, indigestion, constipation, like you have to move that impacted waste through your body. You have to get it out of your system so that you can actually function at a higher level. So I tell you all of that just to say, she's asking, does it help with neuropathy? Well, neuropathy is oftentimes coming from insulin resistance. So anything you are doing to turn back your insulin resistance, to go from resistant to sensitive, that is the goal. And the byproduct, oftentimes, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm just going to tell you, when you turn back the insulin resistance, you turn back the symptoms of insulin resistance. So what are the symptoms of insulin resistance? Gout, belly fat, exhaustion, not sleeping at night, anxiety, depression, neuropathy. Like these are all PCOS, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. Like insulin resistance is the core conversation. This is why on TikTok, you'll see way up there. It's that turnaround symbol, insulin resistance with Kirsten. It's why the Facebook group is called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. It's why this is what I talk about every day at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Insulin resistance and all of its tentacles of connection in your body. Just core conversation because it affects freaking everything. So I teach targeted supplementation, like the trio, and then I teach food ingredient trade outs. I'm Italian. That's why this picture of me up here has food in front of it. I'm holding food because I'm a foodie, and I thought for sure that I was going to have to give up all of the foods that I loved. I was convinced that that was going to be my plate. So I was waiting for the moment that I was strong enough to give everything up. But that was a lie. That was a lie that I was believing, that I had to move into a season of hating my life. Do you see how this happens to us? And it wasn't true. It wasn't true. So Terry, what are you saying? I have fibromyalgia and am going to talk to my rheumatologist in December about scaling back and hopefully stopping my meds now that I've lost some weight and my inflammation is way down, way down. That is awesome, Terry. So Terry, and that's just amazing. Honestly, I'm so grateful for your journey. Terry you started with food first. I always want to tell people stories correctly. You started with foods first 8 months ago, and then you added in the trio and you've lost 40 pounds by doing that. Because again, get down your insulin, this is it's like a spider web. It is, Carla. It is. So what made me take the leap, Joey? Okay, you'll get a kick out of this. You would think that I would have been so driven by my dad's health journey that I would have been had a wake-up call. That's actually why I started the supplements. I started to supplement Path of Least Resistance. Yeah, sure, I can do that. I'll take my little supplements now. Whatever, as if that was me. Okay. Had no idea they were going to work for me. Now they've fully supported me losing 3 sizes. And I'm the only one in my family that's avoided type 2, and I'm not on any meds. I'll be 60 in January. Okay. That's its own story. But when it came to the food, I went in for shoulder surgery when I was 50, and I came out and I never had a cycle again. And this is when I really knew that doctors had the potential, because of course, not all of them, to be just full of BS. Because I lost my cycle, and within 6 months, I'm like, oh, that's just the strangest thing ever. And I went to a female doctor and I said, so what's the connection? I want to understand. This is probably the beginning of me I'm like Mrs. Curious, well, I wonder why it worked like that. And I wonder why it worked like that. And I wonder why that ingredient does that. And why does that do it? That's probably how I am now. What got me to this place now, talking to you guys all about this every day. Because I'm super curious, I'm nosy. And so I said, what's the connection? I went in for surgery, I came out and I haven't had a cycle in 6 months. It's the strangest thing. I haven't even been skipping, maybe in the last year, maybe I skipped 2 periods, maybe. And she looked at it and she goes, there's no connection. And inside of me, I went, she's wrong. But I had no basis, no understanding. Sure enough, I've never had a cycle since then. So what happened then was in 9 months, I started to get lovely piles of back fat on my body. Now I was already overweight and working on that. I had already started supplementing. I already stopped my weight gain. I had already like my appetite, my food noise was going boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Okay, good. So I'm already on a track. But then it was shortly after that, I have my surgery and I'm like, okay, I'm not getting my cycle anymore. So my body immediately goes, all right, here we go. We're going to pile on the fat. Woohoo. I mean, I'm sure it's an estrogen progesterone thing, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really care at the time. I just went, oh crap. Now my body's changing again as if it wasn't bad enough. This was in my head. And I thought, okay, I got to do something. I got to figure this out. Okay, fine. I'll start working on my food. But it was more out of, okay, I'm going to eat more real food and less processed food. And that was my strategy. And that was really helpful in the beginning because it helped me to feel so much better. I immediately was like, oh, my inflammation's going down. I'm feeling better. I'm eating less processed food. But I did not have the understanding that I now have over insulin resistance and spiking sugars and calling on more insulin and being on a hamster wheel and not being able to lose the weight that I wanted, blah, 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 blah. So that's when I really started to I latched onto I've got a bunch of Maria Emmerich cookbooks and stuff. And I started to research why this whole insulin resistance connection. And I went, oh my gosh, we're a bunch of women. All of us are a bunch of women who are sliding into our 40s. We're insulin resistant. We have no idea that we're insulin resistant. Nobody has told us this. Oh my gosh. And insulin is a hormone? Are you freaking kidding me? Insulin is a hormone? Okay, there's got to be a connection to all of my other hormones. This just has to be what this is happening. So that's where I went down that road. So I didn't start with mindset, but I gained mindset. I worked on my mindset. As I was switching out my foods, I realized, oh, I'm finding myself in social settings that are making me uncomfortable. Or I'm finding myself, wow, I didn't realize I had so many food pushers around me. It had been built into my culture. And I had never thought about it. I thought it was normal. Manja, you just eat. Eat. What's wrong with you? Show me that you love me by eating my food. And don't show me up by not eating my food. Happy Thanksgiving, Kristen. You're amazing. I love you. Thank you so much. You're so good. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. Have such a good day. But that's what happened was I woke up and I went, what's going on right now? Why do people care about what I'm eating or not eating? Why is there pressure around food? Oh, I was just living inside of it. I didn't think anything of it. It was normal to me. I know. I'm so thankful for you too. I really, really am. And so I'm just I had to walk my own journey. So that's why I got so excited, you guys, to bring to you Jenny Potter a couple of nights ago in the group. And the group is up in that link right there. It's a Facebook group. And I interviewed her for 30 minutes in the group. And I did it because I walked this process just asking myself a bunch of questions as I went, and I told nobody what was going on. But in the process, I was actually releasing a lot of my own connections from childhood, and I didn't even know it. And it wasn't this long, arduous, hard thing. I was just becoming mindful. So I was just curious enough to wonder why something would trigger me, or why I still to this day have my own connections, right? So I love, who doesn't love to get a snack and sit on the couch and watch something? That's just a connection. It doesn't even have to be to your childhood. It's just it's a way that you choose to relax and wind down. And so when you have to replace that, you're but I don't want to replace that. I like what I'm doing. This is fun, or whatever it is. And to be able to eat an unlimited amount of tortilla chips and salsa, or whatever it is for you, right? Don't tell me about portion control. Don't tell me about putting it in a little bowl. What's that? Those are those types of things that you have to walk through. My cat is sneezing up a storm. This is hysterical. I have a question for y'all. Does anybody have any remedies for a sneezing cat? This just happened. This just happened like over the last year and a half or whatever. And I've been working with her now with some homeopathy drops. And now she's having sneezing fits. And I'm like, no, you're not supposed to get worse. You're supposed to get better. You're not supposed to get worse. I can't fix it for her right in this minute, but she's just going to sneeze. And there you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh my gosh. You get to see the food pushers tomorrow, but I love them all. Oh boy, Linda. I know. Carla says, preach it, girl. You are right on. Oh, Linda, you know what? Oh, you're asking for Maria Emmerich's cookbook for Christmas. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Which one do you want, Carla? So I'm going to put that up, Linda, because you know how many people are like that? They're like, oh man, food pushers. It's a big deal, you guys. But don't be hard on yourself. Just allow. Carla says, me too, Linda. You're getting real with food. Okay, your best friend died at 66 too. So you're getting real with food. Thank you so much for sharing. You're welcome, Joey. You're confused on the keto and how much fat to have. Also, Mastering Diabetes says we should have carbs. Do they mean refined carbs? Oh, blah, blah, blah. I have food noise. Hold on. A lot of sugar addiction, but don't know. If I don't do something, I will end up like my friend did at 66. PCOS was told it was hormones, but yes, cortisol and insulin is just not take birth control. I want teenage girls to know before they suffer. Yes. You want the keto one, Carla? So like the like kind of like her Bible, right? Her with all of her keto information. I have that one. I've actually taught out of that book a lot when I first started doing content. So Joey, I'm just going to give you my overview of keto. Does anybody want my overview of keto? This is how this goes. I did not talk about keto for a really long time online. The reason why I didn't was because it's a muddy, swampy place. And I didn't want to dive into that. I just wanted to live my life and do my thing and whatever. But that's not really helping y'all if I do that. And so a lot of my information comes from Maria Emmerich. If somebody wants proper macros, I tell them to go to Maria Emmerich. So I'm telling you, Joey, you go to mariamindbodyhealth.com or ketomaria.com and you search her free macro calculator and stop listening to 12 people tell you what to do with your macros and start listening to one person. She'll tell you how much fat you should have, how much protein. It's high protein, moderate fat, very low carbs, 20 grams or less a day. And so I am, point number 2 would be I'm very against the traditional advice that we get at providers. I feel like diabetic nutritionists give us trash advice. I'm not saying all of them because I don't know all of them. I just know the stories that you have told me. And when anybody tells you that you can have 150 grams of carbs a day as a type 2 diabetic, you need to run and not go back. That's really bad advice and it will keep you medicated and sick, and that keeps you as a customer. So that's number 2. And number 3, when it comes to keto, I would say that so many companies have jumped on the keto bandwagon and they market to you. They're trying to get you to buy their product. And so instead of you just focusing on, I think I'm going to have a steak and an egg or a chicken breast and some asparagus and real food and then real food. Oh, and then I'm going to add real food. Instead, we think we need to go find all of the prepackaged keto trash that we can find and start eating that because isn't that keto? Or we take all of the keto advice from people who are like online telling you to make fat bombs or put fat into your coffee or do all of the stuff. And it's just because we're trying to live on the edges of because we don't want to, we think we're believing a lie inside of ourselves that tells us that if we go all in, that equals suffering or that equals deprivation or that equals restriction. And it's not true. It actually equals freedom. There's so much freedom in my pantry and my refrigerator because there's nothing in my house that I shouldn't say that. I mean, my husband will buy trash ice cream, but it's gross. It's trash. I mean, when I say trash, like if corn syrup is in the description of ice cream, like that's trash. Hold on, I got to do something here for TikTok. Oh man, there we go. They make me do like puzzle pieces on there. Just, you have to, you got to pretend that you have to be not a robot. There we go. Okay. It's really funny. So anyway, and so I have just properly over time, I didn't do this overnight. Don't feel bad. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be trashing yourself. Don't be unkind to yourself, thinking that you're not going fast enough. You're not doing enough. You're not, all of that stuff. Stop it. But do make intentional decisions like, I am going to trade out my pantry. That's why we do a 5-day challenge every single month. Our 19th one starts on Monday. How would you like to go through the holiday season in a completely different position than you have before? How would you like to be able to navigate your holidays for the next month with a completely different track to run on? I will teach you. You can reach out to me today. I'll get you a cart. You can start with the trio. Those are the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. You can start with the gut reset protocol. This is good. Having both of these with a probiotic. Where's my probiotic? Yeah, here's my probiotic. Good is starting with the trio. Better is doing the trio and the gut reset protocol with a probiotic. And best, in my opinion, is the trio, the gut reset protocol with a probiotic, and this orange pixie stick right here. This orange pixie stick is a clinical dose of an extract that targets fat around your waist and your hips. And no, it's not, excuse me. No, that's not hype. That's not jazz hands. It's actually like, I'm getting the results. My husband is getting the results. Like my friends, my customers, like, we're getting these results. Like after about a month, usually people are seeing, it's something you take once a day. Like a pixie stick, it tastes like candy. Put it on your tongue and it's really good. But about 1 box in, 1 month in is when people are beginning to see the results of like having lost an inch, etc. But there are good, better, best options. And then let's go on the challenge and let's teach ingredient trade outs. Let's teach you how to fish. So I can teach you how to like what if you made lasagna with sliced chicken breast? Maria Emmerich came up with that. I think she's the original, and it's so good. What if you changed out your ingredients, but you still ate the foods that you loved? And what if your Christmas wasn't filled with constipation, indigestion, feeling like trash, totally fatigued? What if you set yourself up for January completely differently than you've ever done before? Kathleen, thanks for this information. You will look her up. Good, good, good. Tammy, hello. Happy Thanksgiving, Tammy. Good to see you. Hold on. Low carb chocolate chip. Okay, let me see this. Yeah, clean keto, Carla, basically. Low carb chocolate chip pumpkin bread turned out great. Oh my gosh. See, if I make stuff like that in my house, I'm going to eat it all, Carla. I would eat the whole loaf. Give me a stick of butter and the pumpkin bread. 9 carbs per slice. Very good. Very good. Oh, Kathleen, I'm going to put that up there because I appreciate you so much for saying that. I really do. It is so I don't know how to get this across sometimes, how simple this is, because we've been taught that everything needs to be so hard that there's no way we could do it alone, that there's no way that we could do it without a provider or without scripts. That's the lie that they tell us. It's just not true. It's not true. You actually can take back your own health, supplement by yourself, make these decisions by yourself. But then it is nice to have community, isn't it, of like-minded people? Gosh, this is the part I love the most, when I get to teach you guys like how to make different recipes and how to make your pantry look different. Before I jump off, let me share with you one of the things that I did the other day was, this is a little crazy and I've only done it once, but it sure was good in the moment. So we buy cheese sticks a lot. We buy string cheese. So now I don't know if it would have worked out better had it been, the string cheese was fine, but I'm wondering if it was a stick cheese, if that would have been different. But this is what I did. So have a great day, Carla. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And Linda's going to be using her carb blocker. Way to go, Linda. Yes, I know. I did carb blocker for a long time. a very long time, years I did carb blocker. Yes, that's just the truth. And so I took string cheese and I dipped it in an egg bath, and then I coated it with pork panko. I talk about the pork panko all the time, and I put them in my air fryer. I just did this the other night. And they're like deep fried mozzarella sticks like you get at the state fair, right? But they kind of lost their shape. They didn't stay like totally firm because they were really melting inside, but they tasted really good. So you can try things like that for yourself. You can do things that are different, just for a treat or whatever. You don't have to eat the treat at the party. You can come home and have your own treat, or you can have the treat before you go to the party. Eat the mozzarella stick, the deep fried, it's air fried, but they taste amazing. Mozzarella stick before you go to the party so that you don't care about certain things. I'm just telling you, there's so many ways that you can accomplish this and have a completely different holiday season. And I am here for it. I am so here for it to help you navigate the season. I'm so here for it. So before I jump off, the challenge starts Monday, December 2nd. It's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. If you are a brand new customer to me and you have never ordered from me before, the Black Friday special that goes through midnight on Friday the 29th, it's for you. It's for you. So $100 or more in an order, it's a $10 Amazon gift card so that you can go and buy ingredients off of Amazon if you want to switch out your pantry. $200 or more is $20 gift card. If you refer to me a new customer, they're not only going to get the gift card, but you will get a $10 gift card too. So I really want to just how many people can we help in this season? How many people can we get positioned for January so that it doesn't suck for them? When Joey was talking about, having a friend that died at 66 and PCOS and all of these different things, it's like, this at our age, it starts to get very real, doesn't it? And it gets to be really impacting in our hearts. And so we no longer think this is just about losing weight to fit into a cute black dress to go to a party. Now we understand the health implications. So how many people can we help to turn back their insulin resistance and to actually you should not be a constipated person. You should not have impacted waste and toxins sitting in your body for long periods of time. We've got to shift the way that we're treating our engine inside of our bodies. We have to do that. Carol, I had to pop off, but I haven't watched the first part, missed you on the replay. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. You too, Carol. Thank you, Kirsten, for all of your good knowledge. You're amazing, Carol. Thank you so much. You have such a very, very good Thanksgiving day. Enjoy your family. And so if you need a cart, reach out to me. I really should have maybe I'll do this. I'll make this a point to have a number that you can text me at, text a word to a number if you want a cart. I'll try to have that in place by Friday because then you can just get what you're looking for, good, better, or best. Okay. And yeah, I'll have that in place. But in the meantime, you do have to get you have to message me. Okay. Just message me and tell me that you were on my live and that you would really like to get some information. And just because you get a cart to look at doesn't mean you have to purchase something. It doesn't mean that, but you can knowledge and good information is never a disadvantage. It's never a disadvantage to your world, especially if you know that you're going to have the support system and the encouragement and an actual track to run on. It makes you feel really good. So you can turn things back for your own health, but also lose some weight in the process. And that feels great. Terry's lost 40 pounds in 8 months. Who doesn't want that? Just telling you. Vicky, good to see you. Well, I can reach out to you, Vicky. I will message you and see what it is that you're looking for to make sure. Because again, we don't want people buying things that they don't need. We just don't need that mess. Okay. And this is not hype and it's not jazz hands. This is something I started over 10 years ago, and it 100% helped me to lose 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped, kept me away from type 2. I'm not on any meds and I'll be 60 next month. And so I'm just kind of I'm very grateful for my journey and I can share it with other people. And with Terry doing that in 8 months, I'm telling you, that's time compression. It took me 3 to 4 years to trade out my ingredients And I used a lot of carb blocker, but I did not have live video, and I did not tell anybody what I was doing. And I did not, I just went on my own journey. I didn't have Jenny Potter's book that had come out since then, Self-Sabotage No More. I didn't have these tools. This is her next book, Stuck No More. And just to let you know, well, I have books that I'll be giving away here at the beginning of December. So I'll just tell you about, I will tell you about that coming up. I won't forget, trust me. So anyway, but I will message you, Vicki. And so if anybody needs anything today, you know where to find me, message me, and let's chat. Let's get you moving forward. Let's do December differently. You can. And tomorrow after Thanksgiving, I'll be back on here at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we can talk again. And maybe you can tell me all of the good choices that you made. Don't beat yourself up for the bad choices. Let's talk about what you did that was right. And let's talk about how you won the day. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to have something in there that you are proud of yourself for. And we can talk about that on Friday morning. How does that sound? So have a blessed Thanksgiving, Linda. You guys all be like so happy to be with your family and friends, because it doesn't last forever, does it? We have to like take every day. Have a good Thanksgiving.